You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry, ChillyBoy Chill's son, and this is my character ranking for all of the major characters in The Wheel of Time Season 2. Now, before we get into this ranking, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. So another season of The Wheel of Time has turned. And just like with each passing season of Game of Thrones, I have decided to do character rankings for The Wheel of Time after each season of the show. So we already did a season 1 ranking, and now we are back for the second season. And this time, the list has definitely got a bit longer. After all was said and done, I decided to include 23 characters here on the ranking. Basically, my criteria on deciding who to include here was that the character had to have at least appeared in 2 or more episodes of the season and had some sort of plot relevance. And that left me overall with 23 slots to fill. Now, this is just my own personal ranking, and it's mostly based off of season 2 and how I enjoyed the characters, what they did this season. But really, it's just my personal ranking of how I liked them this season. So I know y'all won't agree with me and where I place many of these characters, and that's the fun of it all. And I can't wait to see your rankings in the comment section down below. And just remember, this is coming from a non-book reader, so I don't have all that book knowledge. It's simply from season 2 of the show. So without further ado, let's kick things off. Coming in at number 23, aka dead last, I have Lady Suroth. Yeah, my least favorite character of the season was Lady Suroth's naked mole rat head looking ass. Just not that fun of a villain. I think the acting performance was just so-so. Some of that line delivery actually was a little bit questionable. The look was serving, but only when she had that cage mask over the mug. When that came off, wasn't a big fan of that whole shave sides with the mullet style braid. She actually didn't do a whole lot this season, and when she was on screen, she just kind of irritated me. Not the fun type of villain we got with so many other characters this season, so Lady Suroth was my least fave. Coming in at 22, I have Barthanes Damodred. I was hoping you were just a sweet boy. Instead, you were a little jackass. And honestly, giving you that title is a bit of an insult to donkeys everywhere. Once again, Barthanes was kind of just a dweeb. He was kind of a nothing burger overall. He didn't really do much, and his turn, well, it was slightly disappointing, but he got owned directly afterward. Once again, no chance to really be a fun villain, at least not in season 2. We'll see where he goes from here, but so far, I'm not feeling it. At number 21, I have the White Cloaks. So I just lumped all the White Cloaks here into this spot. Really, the only ones of significance were Valda again and the Bornholds. But what puts them above these other 2 slots is that they showed some sort of morality in that final episode. Though Valda's dumb self couldn't control himself even amongst people who were fighting on the same side as he was. Plus, Papa Bornhold killed Hopper, so yeah, that sunk him quick. But hey, I guess at least they got a fit upgrade this season, so there's that. At number 20, I have Rena. Oh, was there a more infuriating character in season 2 than Rena? She made my skin crawl. But honestly, that's what made her a villain worthy above the rest on this list. She actually elicited real emotion. She made me hate her. But in saying all that, I hated her. She was a literal slaver who went out like a punk. Yeah, she got herself killed by being a fool in the final episode. I'm glad she's gone. I never want to see Rena again. Honestly, I'd be really happy to never see any more Suldam again in the series. But oh, she made for a really hateful villain for season 2. Coming in at 19, I have Min. So I do like Min. I think she's fun. She's kind of funny. I like her personality, but she just didn't have much to do this season. Pretty much she was used as a device against Matt, and that was more or less her entire point of being in season 2. Plus, she kind of set Matt up for only selfish reasons, so I couldn't really justify her putting her up any higher on this list. Coming in at number 18, I have Suan Sedai, our Amerlin seat. Oh, it pains me to put Suan this low because season 1 I loved her, and I thought I was gonna love her here too, but then she acted a plum fool. She really made some poor choices that kind of flew in the face of a lot of morality, honestly, but she acted in what she thought was the right way. She acted by the book and in a way that she thought would save the world. So I can't fault Suan too much. What I can fault her for, however, is breaking all trust with Moiraine and forcing her to do something she didn't want through the One Power, which I think is a really, really horrible thing for her to have done. So unfortunately, Suan had a real fall from grace, and moving forward, I don't really know where we're going to stand with her, honestly. And that makes me really sad. But you done messed up this season, ma'am, in a big way. At number 17, I have Logain Ablar. What can I say? He was kind of the comic relief of season 2. Poor Logain just kind of wanted peace. I mean, really, he just wanted to say goodbye to the world. But he was just chilling. He was vibing in his little prison cell. And everybody just came to taunt him all season long. So he trolled them one after the next. The problem was he got each time. He got outplayed in each of his trolls and ended up with egg on his face each and every time. But I kind of just felt bad for him. Everybody was just toying with him all season long. At number 16, I have Alana and her 2 warders. So I actually love Alana. The reason she's so low on this list for me, 1, is there's just so many great characters in the show, but 2, she just didn't get much to do this season. I love her relationship with her 2 warders, and the time we got to spend with them and her family was fantastic. But some of her training methods, not my favorite in the early episode. And then at the end of the season, she wasn't a part of anything major, really. She didn't have anything to do. So I'm hoping Alana has a bigger presence moving forward in season 3 onward, because I love her. I love her character, and I just want to see more. At number 15, I have Varen. A new character for me in season 2. I really started to like Varen. At first, I was skeptical about her. I wasn't too sure what to think of her. But as we moved on, I really started to enjoy her. Constantly outsmarting people left and right. She was the investigator of season 2, the Sherlock Holmes of the Wheel of Time, Miss Varen, in her brown getup and all. Another character I anticipate we're going to see a lot more of in season 3. And this is a character I can't wait to see what she does next. At number 14, I have Anver Domadred. Now this one really took some warming up for me. At first, I wasn't too sure what to think of Anver overall. I kind of skated on whether she was going to be a problem for us or if she was an ally that Moiraine could really count on. But as Moiraine continued to just treat her like crap, I started to warm to Anver because she dealt it right back at Moiraine. She is a strong woman that stood in her convictions in the face of her sister. And it was all solidified in episode 7 when she kind of made this ultimate sacrifice in a badass move, locking up her own son. I really hope that this doesn't come back to be her demise as she kind of battles against the forces of the Dark One in her own way. But for what it's worth, she was pulling big moves in season 2 and made her way up quite far on my list. At number 13, I have Loyal. Kind of like Alana. This one really hurts me to put him so low because I love Loyal. I just love who he is as a being in this world. I love his energy. I love everything about him, honestly. But he just wasn't given anything to do this season. He was just kind of there, but hardly there. Thankfully, he got in on some of the action, which I love to see. And then he got that amazing speech in the final episode. Other than that, I loved Loyal for staying true to who he was and to his friends, insisting on saving Egwene, even if he never quite got there. He's a great person. He's a great character. I just hope we get to spend more time with him next season. At number 12, I have Liandrin. What can I say? She is a fun villain, isn't she? A complete and total mess, just running around, causing disaster everywhere that red coat flies. But when Liandrin is given stuff to do, she is so much fun. At the halfway point of this season, she was like the really fun villain to kind of love to hate. I really enjoy how complex of a character she is. Even as she works to serve the Dark One now, we know, seeing her own self-interest in the face of the Shan-Chan was awesome. Seeing that relationship with her son was really nice as well, and getting to see her break down her walls with Nynaeve, even though she ends up betraying her, was nice character work for Liandrin this season. Unfortunately, though, most of her good moments came in the first half of the season, and once we got to the second half, Liandrin kind of disappeared. She was nowhere to be seen for pretty much the entire second half of season 2. Thus, I couldn't justify her putting her above most all the rest of these characters. But for what it's worth, she sure is a fun villain to hate. At number 11, I have Avienda. Yes, our Aiel queen. Avienda gets special props because she gave our best fight scene of the season for me, the coolest fight scene of the season. When she took down those white cloaks, it was amazing. Pretty much anytime we get Aiel fighting, it's amazing. It's like the best fighting in the show. But I loved her interactions with Perrin, her kind of jokey nature with him. But I actually really love the bond that they were able to create as the season went on. I really look forward to see the kind of role she plays moving forward into season 3, and hope we only get more time with her as we press on. So kicking off our top 10, at number 10, I have Rand. Ooh, don't kill me. I know Rand has some loyal fans out there, and we're 2 seasons in, and I'm just not really vibing with him all that much so far. Thankfully, this season, I got more moments with Rand where I understood his character a little bit more. He got badass moments more often, and I think we're starting to see that character development with him grow into his own. We're just not really there yet, are we? It seems he's constantly a lovesick puppy, following one girl to the next. And it seems maybe Miss Elaine is the next female in his crosshairs. But what I loved this season from Rand was his devotion to Egwene and the rest of his friends, really. You see who he is as a person and what he values as a character, and that really drove his entire arc in season 2. Plus, that moment in the finale was just amazing, where he took down Turok and the rest of those Shan-Chan. Didn't really do much else that was all that noteworthy in the season finale, but when he has his shining moments, they can be fun. He's just yet to really be my Dragon Reborn so far in the series. Sorry, y'all. At number 9, I have Ishamael. Yes, our first Forsaken on the list. Ishi, as I've heard so many folks call him out there. It's also a lot easier to say than Ishamael, which I just have been saying Ishmael the entire season because that extra A really messes me up. But what a fun character he was in season 2. Seeing his full powers come onto display, seeing him constantly manipulate the board as we moved on. You can see him playing chess around all of these kids. His interactions with Lanfear were amazing. His somewhat homoerotic interactions with Rand, with Matt, with Luce, Gave me life, I cannot lie. Honestly, he was one of those really fun villains throughout the season. Plus, it's really a feat to get to the end with a character like Ishamael and be rooting for him to be defeated and die all season, but to also feel a sense of relief for him, to feel empathy with his cause as he gets his wish of just feeling nothing anymore. Was really cathartic in the finale in a way I wasn't anticipating. It seems crazy that he's already gone, but what a fun character he was in season 2. At number 8, I have Matt. Now, prior to the season finale, Matt would have been several spots lower on this list because once again, he spent most of the season just on his own, separate from everyone, and without a really strong storyline. He was just kind of there for the majority of season 2, but it all built really nicely. The pieces kept being put into place for him to have this amazing season finale that honestly really vaulted him up several positions in my book. That moment where he blew the horn in the finale was one of the best moments of the entire episode and possibly of the entire season. Getting to see him finally be this hero that I've wanted for him for 2 seasons straight was so gratifying. Plus, he's a lot of fun. I really like this new actor in the role. He brings this level of charm and charisma. Getting to see him finally interact with all of his friends and be part of the group once more is amazing, and I'm so excited and hopeful for his character arc moving forward now that he realizes he is a literal hero of the Horn and a hero of our story, that he is a good friend and that he is loved. And I think his character arc can only go up from here. At number 7, I have Perrin. I've always had a soft spot for Perrin. He was actually quite high on my season 1 ranking as well. And once again, he's part of the upper echelon of our heroes for me. Though, especially in the second half of season 2, once again, I don't think he was given enough to do. He was just kind of off in the wasteland. Thankfully, I loved his trio. I loved his little group. So every time we cut back to Perrin, I was still having a good time. But there was so much potential with what we were doing with Perrin in the first half of the season. We were finally learning about like Wolf Brothers and what he actually was, seeing this bond he had with Hopper and the other wolves. But then he kind of fizzles out in the second half of the season and isn't given nearly enough to do. But then his story kind of fizzles out and he's not really given much to do as we work towards the end of the season. At number 6, I have Elaine, the daughter heir of Andor. Yet another character that really grew on me, because when I first met Elaine, I was like, oh gosh, get this girl out of here. This little rich, snobby girl. No, thank you. But what a character arc she had in season 2. She was able to hang with the best of them. I loved her honest rawness with Egwene and the bond and friendship they immediately took to each other with. And seeing her dedication and that vulnerability, being that daughter heir, not really having friends, and seeing what that meant to her through Egwene was amazing. And then getting to see her development with Nynaeve through the second half of the season. Obviously, she was a big part of helping Nynaeve's story this season, but it also strengthened her own character in the latter half. I love it. I think she can give it with the best of them. She is obviously a very powerful channeler as well, and she's a great addition to our core group of friends here. So kicking off our top 5. At number 5, I have Lanfear. Woo! Woo! I loved Lanfear this season. And honestly, it was difficult for me to not even put her higher on this list. I'm sorry. I know she's a Forsaken. I know she's supposedly evil and all this and that. But wow, is she fabulous doing it. Even when she was Selene, I loved the vibes of Lanfear then. And then when she showed her true, devious, powerful self, I loved her even more. The outfits were fire. Lanfear's wardrobe was one of one this season, the best wardrobe in the entire show. But I loved her nonchalant, confident attitude every time she was on screen. This is how you create an iconic villain. In just one season, she has shot up the ranks. Someone you love to hate. Though I have to admit, particularly as the season came to a close, I didn't hate her. I'm just gonna say it. I know she's looking out for her best interest and she's all about Lanfear and Rand, and that's her end game. But in season 2, at least, her end game coincided with our end game. And she kind of helped us get where we needed to go. And like I said, is very protective of Rand. Even asked for the light to be with him. How's that for a dark one, Forsaken? We'll see what happens with Lanfear moving forward into season 3, but this season, yeah, I officially stan this Forsaken. So coming in at number 4, I have Nynaeve. Another one of those characters. Nynaeve had such a strong first half of the season, getting to really work through so much with her and understanding her character and what still makes her tick. She is the girl we met in season 1, even as everyone's blowing her head up about how strong and powerful she is. So much of her strength still came in her character and what she cares most about, which is her friends, her chosen family. Unfortunately, like you've heard me say about a couple of others on this list, I do think her story is less strong and less interesting, certainly in the second half of the season. And she didn't really do anything in the second half of the season, including help in any kind of way. In some ways, she was more of a hindrance than she was a help. Now, I think and hope it's setting up for a lot of really interesting character work with her because it's all there. It's ripe for that type of storytelling. I just wish we got more of that exploration and storytelling itself in the second half of the season while we were dealing with it. Yes, we know she's blocked. Yes, we know she's struggling with that. But internally, I wish we could get more of Nynaeve and what's going on with her right now. But as is, I still love Nynaeve. I love her stubborn ass, even when she is just a bulldozer and her plans are flops left, right, and center. Thankfully, she has Elaine to kind of balance all that out now. Her story in season 2 just wasn't quite as strong as it was in season 1, so she kind of slid down just a tad in the ranking. Coming in at number 3, I have Moiraine Sedai. Okay, what a roller coaster we went on with Moiraine in season 2. Now, for a good portion of this season, she was quite frustrating. I understood why she was mad. I understood why she didn't want anyone by her or around her. She was going through a lot internally. I get it. But whew, it was a lot to deal with. She was a lot to deal with. But she was my favorite character in season 1. I love Moiraine. And at the end of the day, everything she does is for the greater good. She is singular in focus and purpose. And that's kind of why you love her character, right? Now, I wish she wasn't so mean to my boy Lan for the majority of this season. But oh my gosh, it all led to this amazing finale with her and him. Their rekindling was everything. And once she got those powers back, oh, mama going goat mode. That's what I'm here for. Plus, I have to admit, while it was a little bit frustrating watching her run around and be rude to everyone in her life, it was also kind of entertaining. Every time she got like pissed and threw a little bit of a tantrum, I lived low-key. What can I say? Whether she's being a rude mess to everybody or a powerful queen, Moiraine is constantly entertaining and still one of my favorite characters in this show. All right, at number 2, I have Lan. My favorite man, my best man, my man. I love Lan. I've always loved Lan. I continue to love Lan. He's amazing. I can't understand why anyone would be mean to him, Moiraine. But this season, although he wasn't given a lot necessarily plot-wise to do in the first half of the season, it was really nice to see him really kind of question his purpose, question himself, and somewhat grow on his own as a person away from Moiraine. And he looked sexy pouting too. Hair down and all. But then it just made it all the more satisfying in the latter half of the season as he turned into his own type of detective, Baron Watch Out, putting together the pieces to once again bring Moiraine back to the One Power. That was all his doing. He was the hero of the season for that. Getting to see him accomplish his mission in episode 7 and then finally get that bond back in episode 8 was some of the most satisfying character arc work of season 2 for me personally. And then of course getting badass Lan in that finale, catching arrows out of the sky, going Super Saiyan was everything I needed. And coming in at number 1, my favorite character of season 2 for the Wheel of Time was Egwene. I mean, this really was Egwene's season, no? We start the season off with this really hungry girl that wants to be an Aes Sedai, that wants to learn, but isn't getting the accolades, isn't getting the praise, isn't getting the attention that she thinks she deserves. Watching how that plays with her psyche and her interactions with Elaine, but more importantly, her relationship with Nynaeve. But seeing her evolve past that, and once again, like we talked about with Nynaeve, going back to her roots and identifying who she is as a person and what she values most. That's her friends, that's her loved ones. And then of course, we get to trauma bond with Egwene. The best acting in all of season 2, watching this character go through that kind of trauma was some of the most painful, hard to watch things I've seen in not only Wheel of Time, but in the show period in quite some time. But watching as she reinforced her own character and her own resolve through that situation, and ultimately getting to break free and having her be the one that saves herself. It's her own mind, her own skill set that got her out of this. It was so gratifying and satisfying. It wasn't Nynaeve, it wasn't Rand, it wasn't any of her other friends. She did this. She stood on her own and did what needed to be done. And then that led to her going full goat in the finale, standing up to a Forsaken, standing toe-to-toe with him to protect Rand and the people she loves. She had the biggest arc of season 2. She had the most growth. She had the badass moments time and time again this season, and concluded with a high note. Wheel of Time season 2 was the season of Egwene. I loved her in the first season, but oh my gosh, I bonded with her so much in season 2. And that's why, after the second season of the Wheel of Time, Miss Egwene Alvear is my favorite Wheel of Time character. So that was my ranking for all of the major characters of the Wheel of Time season 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos, including my reactions to the Wheel of Time Season 3, when those episodes start to drop, and any other Wheel of Time or fantasy-related content here on the channel. Also, make sure to leave your own ranking. Put in there, are you a book reader? How do you rank Season 2 versus where they are in the books up to this point? You can rank them based on their adaptations. Or, like me, are you a show-only watcher? How would you rank these characters after the second season? I can't wait to see everyone's opinions in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.